You've probably heard about the visit David Letterman made to Maine last month. He came here to appear on the second to last episode of The Night Show, the Saturday evening talk show hosted by Dan Cashman.
207 videographer Kirk Craddy and I were at that taping because we had gotten a tip that Letterman was coming. We ended up doing a story on his appearance for our daily newscasts, which many of you likely saw. But there was more that we didn't have time to tell, including the inside story of how Danny Cashman got David Letterman to come to Bangor.
If I sit and think about this too long, it gets hard.
Months ago,
really
Danny Cashman had announced that The Night Show would come to an end this season. And this was the final night of taping before a live audience. Dozens of people work on The Night Show, but it exists solely because of one man.
It's Danny. Danny is such a special person and such a wonderful guy to work for. I've been in the music business all of my life, and I've never worked for a nicer person in show business.
From the time he was a boy, Danny Cashman idolized talk show hosts. In 1997, when he was just 19 years old, he created The Night Show.
April 12, 1997, The Night Show with Danny Cashman premieres as Maine's first local late-night talk show.
He hosted the show, of course, but also sold it, booked guests, wrote, even edited it. Take it from someone who's worked in television in Maine for more than 40 years. Getting a program like The Night Show on the air in a small market without a network or syndication deal and keeping it on the air is unheard of. There was nothing else like it anywhere in the country.
Danny didn't start with what we have now. It was camcorders and makeshift studios. It was, you have an empty room in the back of your store in Brewer. Could we put on a show there?
He's an architect and he's an engineer. He can dream it and he can build it. And that's what he's done for 15 plus years now with The Night Show. I'm proud of him.
Only about 10 people knew who would be the special guest in the final taping of the evening. A guest who was introduced without fanfare.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Letterman.
To appreciate this moment, you need to know that David Letterman is the talk show host whom Danny Cashman reveres above all others.
This is the guy that made me want to start doing this. This is the guy I've looked up to forever. He was my Johnny Carson.
Letterman has a bit of history with Bangor. Back in the 1980s, he spent several nights talking about the city after the ratings revealed that the viewership for his show was so low in Bangor, it couldn't even be measured.
Now, what all of this means essentially is there's no one in the city of Bangor, Maine, watching this show. Nobody.
The bit featured this memorable song from Paul Schaefer.
Hey, Bangor, it's a beautiful lady. Yeah, Bangor is a sweet, sweet mystery. Bangor, hey, I don't even know her. But someday that town will belong to me.
Paul Schaefer, ladies and gentlemen.
And now, here he was.
Do you know this? There's a certain sensitivity about how you pronounce the name of this city?
Yeah.
It's Bangor, all right?
Yeah.
Bangor.
Yeah.
All right, all my life, Bangor. I'm sorry. All my life, Bangor. What are you going to do about it? I know better now. By the way, if I hear Bangor once, I'm coming up there, okay?
What made the evening especially gratifying was that Letterman was genuinely impressed at what Danny has accomplished and understood that the decision to leave a talk show behind is not an easy one.
This was probably the most difficult decision I've ever made in my life.
Yes, one would hope, because this, in terms of tough decisions, you don't really want any more of a struggle in life than this. But And it's firm, right?
Yeah.
Have you signed anything?
We didn't sign anything to start the show, so
Hearing his words of encouragement mean the absolute world to me. The fact that he came here and basically said, "Good job," I'll never, ever, ever forget that, and it's the perfect way to close this up.
Now, you may still be wondering, how did Danny get Letterman to come here? Well, there's a story.
I don't know if you're going to use this or not. I need to thank you and Amanda. You were the people that convinced me to ask Dave.
A few years ago, when Amanda Hill and I appeared on The Night Show, we got talking with Dan about dream guests and how, if you didn't ask them to come on your show, the answer was always no.
My response to you, when you asked me if I had ever asked him, was that if I don't ask him, he can't say no, and that means the dream is still alive. And then I asked him, and he said no. And then I asked him again, and he said no. And then Amanda convinced me to ask a third time going out. And that's the one that stuck. Third time's a charm. I never would have asked at all if it weren't for you and Amanda convincing me to do so. So I owe a lot of this thanks to you and Amanda for saying, just do it. And I did, and it worked.
Rarely in life are you there to watch as someone's lifelong dream comes true. It happened on this stage, and it was magic.
And it's just about impossible to convey just how emotional Danny Cashman was about that, because he couldn't articulate it himself. He was just overwhelmed.
And I love the way that you ended this, because that's the first thought that was in my mind. It was wonderful to watch someone else have a dream and realize it there. We all got to be a part of that.
Yeah, it was. It was this sort of communal experience. Everybody who was in that theater that evening will tell you that that was one of the remarkable nights they have ever spent in Maine.
And I also, on the other side, want to know what was going through his mind when he announced David Letterman and the doors open, and there's a long pause.
He talked about that. Danny said that he was literally weak in the knees, and he kind of had to bend over a little bit to compose himself. All right, so The Night Show with Danny Cashman has 2 more episodes set to air. The one with David Letterman will air Saturday evening, and then the final episode, just Danny and greatest hits clips, no guests, will air May 17th.